Hello, Dynamics community. It's your host, Mariana, welcoming you to the Dynamics Show, where personal growth meets daily life in the most powerful ways. Here we know there's no one-size-fits-all life, so each episode is designed to help you align with your unique essence and rhythm, embracing your dynamic self and creating a life that works on your terms. This is a space to gain fresh perspective, seize opportunities, and uncover the possibilities waiting for you. You're here for a reason, and you will hear what you need to. So let's dive in and explore what's possible together. Today, our discussion recording will be about expanding the subject of one of our dynamics, kid dynamics. First time on this podcast. So I'm so excited about this. And I have the pleasure of being joined by the reason why Kid Dynamics was created, and that is Makota.
Nice to have me here, I guess. It's very
Nice
exciting.
to have you here.
Yes.
Yes, thank you for being here. And it is because of you that we meaning me and all the energy and ideas and thoughts and energy that came through around 2, 3, 4 o'clock in the morning, I'd be woken up to go, okay, put this in your Kid Dynamics program. Put this in your program. Like I'd be walking somewhere, I'd be like, oh, here's an idea. Have you ever had that experience where it's just like you have something on your mind, you're creating something, and then you're just like, oh, okay.
Yes, that definitely happened when I was doing my master's thesis or my dissertation. And it was constantly thinking about what I needed to add or what I could fix for that part or what I need to do before it. So I was constantly waking up and writing ideas down or staying up late and trying to fix parts that I thought were best to fix.
Yes. Yeah, it's one of those things that when you know you're in the creative mode, you just know. And Kid Dynamics, KID, yes, I know that kid is an informal term for child, but it's way more accepted now, and we'll go over the definition in a while. Thank you again, Makota, for being here. Thanks for being born into this world. So I could have one of my life themes and purposes and passions come forward through really not being able to find what I wanted in a program, and that I felt like it was important to teach you along the way, not just the school subjects, more about like life values and life themes and life skills and life, everything that they don't necessarily teach you as a subject in education, but way more important about being a good person. And, what did you feel about that now that you've been around it for a little bit?
Well, I think especially now that I'm a teacher and I can see where it's lacking in the classroom as well, it's just, I think it's been such a nice feeling to be able to teach the kids the things that I grew up on that felt normal and just part of my everyday life with Kid Dynamics, and being able to teach that to my kids and teach them all those values and virtues and just to love themselves and to be able to talk to themselves in a positive way.
Yeah. I mean, there's so many aspects to it, and we'll go over it. But before we get into that, we always like to set the tone first, because this is more than just a podcast. It's a space to remind you that within each one of us flows this dynamic energy, ready to be embraced, shaped, co-created with every single day. Like life is daily. Life is actually secondly. Second,
Yes.
minutes, hours, gets into that whole thing, because it's just a full unfoldment, and the power is always in the now moment. So in the now second, we put it as daily because a lot of people, they go to sleep and when they wake up, it's a new day for them. That's why we use daily. And that is why the Day in Dynamics show is capitalized, because again, it's making daily choices to live dynamically. So let's take that moment and center ourselves. Take a deep breath in and out, and become fully present and listen with an open heart and mind, because here's the thing. We all know, and if you don't know, we'll remind you right now, what we focus on expands. It's law of attraction. And every day is a chance to become more of our true dynamic selves. Why this subject of kid? And if you don't know the whole story, go to dynamicseries.com/kid or go to kiddynamics.com and it'll forward you to that. It was in a meditation that I realized that why do we spend so much time as adults or like young adults and then into our adulthood trying to get over stuff that happened to us in childhood? Because we weren't conscious enough, we weren't taught, we weren't whatever it is. This is not a lack thing, just so you know. Anyone that's going to say, oh, they're talking about lack. No, it's not a lack thing. What it is just being conscious enough now that if you are dealing with the well-being and wellness of children in any manner, to have values and virtues and life themes and stuff just as important, being a good person, starting with yourself, to yourself, is one of them. But everyone is constantly evolving, and the children, kid, whatever it might be, is not any less important than anyone else in this world. So that's really a good thing to remember along the way, as far as why you find kid dynamics would be helpful to have a part of people's lives, informally or formally.
That's a really good one, and I think the biggest reason, or one of the biggest reasons that I notice, is the increase of electronics in the lives of kids. I think that a lot of time it has become a lot harder for kids to feel centered in themselves because they see social media, they see how they're supposed to maybe grow up, or the things that they're lacking through the experience of other people, which is something I didn't have when I grew up. We didn't have social media, or we didn't have other kids that we could watch and see how much better their lives were compared to ours, and, think that we're lacking in some way. And especially because I teach at a school that a lot of kids don't have a lot, I think it only incentivizes that even more, because they think that, they need more than they actually have. And it's so important when I think of kid dynamics to make them realize how important every little thing that they have is, and that they don't need, the newest iPhone or iPad or video game or, toy cars. It's making it seem so important to have the little things. I know that I had a student that was obsessed with axolotls, and every single time that anything came up with axolotls, she would just, beam and glow up. And so I remember giving her a sticker that was an axolotl that I found in my, sticker pouch thing that I bought for this classroom, and she cherished that for the rest of the year. She always talked to me about it, and she was always thankful to me. And it's just putting emphasis on being appreciative of what you have, and, respecting what you do have and taking care of it. And I think also for me, I've had to grow up with that too, and realizing that I don't always need things, and it's more important to have experiences and have knowledge, and not always have to fill my life up with stuff.
Yes, very well said, and thank you for sharing.
Mhm.
And we realize now, as Makota's going through some clearing out of stuff, is that, and when it gets right down to it, it's just stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, it's true. It's like there's things that I've had in boxes for years, and then I looked at it and it's like, oh, I did have that. Or we just realized that I had about 20 lip balms that I don't need, or that I've just bought throughout the years, or didn't, where I could find one, because it's sometimes in your brain, or at least for me, it was, oh, I couldn't find one in that specific moment, or I didn't have one with me that specific time. So I feel like I need to get more instead of finding one or figuring out where they are, because I knew I had lip balm somewhere.
Yes. All right. So we always like to define for the word kid is, I find it interesting with the dictionary definition of it, because we always like to try several different people, places, things, nouns, verbs, all that stuff when it comes to a word of a dynamic that we're using. So I looked up kid, and it says a child or younger person up to 12, because then at 13 you become a teenager and you're no longer a kid. Also means a young goat. And it's interesting because even before we used Billy, and Billy's our mascot, which is a young goat, even before that, I always thought about kid dynamics and a goat, because I'd seen one at a zoo we were at one time, like way back, and I just thought, oh, it is such a cool little animal, and I think it would just represent it. And I saw a kid playing with it, and I thought, oh, perfect. And then I come to realize that, yeah, in fact, that's one of the definitions. As a verb, playfully tease or joke for kid, kid around, fool around, joke around. A noun, a child. The word child itself says it goes back to the 1590s in England, where kids used to be a slang word. It was like disrespectful to call a child a kid. But now it's like, it's just formal, informal. It all depends who you're talking to, the way you're talking to them, and how is it referring it to them, as far as like a person versus a goat.
True.
So when you're looking at Google and vocabulary.com and AI and Merriam-Webster, that's why I always say to everyone, please just do your own research, even after listening to this, so you can get clear about what you would like to have a definition mean for you based on some of the factual definitions that come from various resources. That is part of the beginning of our podcast. How are you feeling already?
Feeling pretty good. Excited to continue.
Good. Thank you. So, Makota, let's just discuss a little bit what you've felt now that obviously you're 27 and you're hearing for so many years and being part of the Kid Dynamics program and actually doing the editing and revamping of Kid Dynamics program to help facilitate it more into the formal educational system, as well as still having it for the informal as well. How do you feel after all of this, knowing that this was all based on you, and then when I'm no longer in this physical plane, it all goes to you? Everything, every resource, everything that comes around Kid Dynamics, and probably the Dynamics series too. Hopefully you'll take over the Dynamics show.
Oh gosh.
That's many, many years from now, but who knows where it'll evolve to by that point. How do you feel knowing that something so incredible that has helped so many people was made in your honor?
It feels weird, for sure, but it's also very inspiring because it makes me realize that my mother and, the people that surrounded her at the time were open to it, and that there was something there. Because sometimes you'll just get ideas and they won't go anywhere, and that's fine, because sometimes you'll just have, throwaway thoughts, but it's the fact that, she put the time and commitment in to make it something that is tangible, something that she, was able to teach the students, teach other facilitators to do, and that it was substantial enough. Because especially when you think about me being an educator, I think that really helped me help her on how to do it. Because she was doing it without any teaching experience back when I was a kid, and you kind of learn it along the way. Thankfully, that's, how it is with teaching sometimes. You just figured out with me being able to go back and revamp it and see how it could fit into, like she said, a daycare or a school setting more, amply. It makes me really excited to be able to have that be full-fledged, or something that people start buying into or want to incorporate into their classroom, and something that when I go back into teaching this new year, I want to try to incorporate more into my own classroom, and just hopefully maybe it catches on that way. But it's very inspiring because we're both very creative people, even though I haven't made a kids program, I've made a lot of other stuff, like for my master's degree or for school. We did a whole presentation that we, presented in front of the whole region of our state, which was pretty cool, for like 400 people. And I think it's so nice that runs in the family, so I'm excited to see how I can continue to help her develop it and expand on it, and that it's, gonna only flourish more.
Thank you. That's awesome. And the next thing I just want to discuss with you is because it was such a heartfelt thing, the kids thing. It's where all this dynamics series started. What do you think? Because you've been around kids for so long. I know you shared a little bit, but do you want to share a little bit further on the importance of having a program that focuses on the well-being of kids?
That's a very, very big question, and I think it very much depends on where you're living sometimes, on how the importance is in classrooms, and for kids, I think it's important for every kid to do. But, if you're a teacher or a parent or someone in education, you might have a program that, already kind of falls under some of the aspects of kid dynamics. But I think that that's a beauty of it, is that you can take pieces out of kid dynamics and use it wherever. And you can do it for 5 seconds or you can do it for 20 minutes. And I think the core value of kid dynamics is not necessarily the activities or, the products that we've made or anything like that. It's just the core understanding that kids need to know their value and their worth, and what values and emotions and feelings and virtues, how to feel those things and express them and understand them, and to be okay with them, because a lot of kids don't really understand the meaning behind words. You'll have kids in school I know that'll just say, very negative words, and they won't really understand what they're saying. They won't really understand why they're saying it, and they'll just, repeat it from other people. And so if you can kind of turn that around with the use of kid dynamics and have it be something that they use kid dynamics as a way to learn those words better, then I think that's exciting to me, and that I think that's what every kid should be able to have as an experience, is to know, okay, I know what love is because my parents say it, or, my grandparents say it, or I hear people around me saying it, but like, what does love mean for them, and how do they express it in their eyes and not just what they think it should be?
Or what do they prefer it to be? Because someone could be yelling at you and saying, "I am doing this for you because I love you." Well, is that love? Like, we get a lot of
Mixed
mixed
signals,
signals
yeah.
about what love is supposed to be. This is just using love because love is one of the themes in the Kid Dynamics program, because I think it's sometimes overused and sometimes misunderstood, and
Mm.
then sometimes in other aspects just you're loved,
Yes.
And there'll be times where, people are in contrast with their emotions, and just having that open communication with them instead of just it's just there's so many things about kids in general that we really have to focus on them, not just their safety and their well-being and the regular subjects in school, but let's also talk about, like you said, the virtues, the values, who they are as a person, the importance of them, this dynamic energy, this essence of who they really
Mm.
are. That's important. And
Yeah, I think that's exactly it. I think a lot of kids, they would say, "Oh, I love you and you're the best," but it's like, well, that's great, because you do all these things, but it's almost like some kids think that it's necessary, like that they have to say that, or like it's needed. And it's just like, sometimes you don't need to say it if you don't actually understand what those words mean. I wish that all the kids in the world were able to understand that the word that they say has a different meaning for everyone, and that they need to figure out what that is for them and not what people say it is for them.
right, which we were just talking about
Yes.
before that, even adults, because we've never sometimes taken the time to really go forward and understand that even more about what's the definition of a word, really.
Mm.
Like, sit with your kids sometime and do some theme or core words that, or if you get the program, or even like one theme of the program that we're going to be separating out when after we're done editing and revamping it, and just take that time with the workbook and look up definitions with them, and help them understand that one word, because of a noun, a verb, you're the teacher. What is all of them? Noun, verbs, pronouns,
Pronouns, adverbs,
adjectives, adverb, all of them.
prepositions, yeah.
Yeah, all of those things that it can have a slightly different meaning, and I think sometimes that gets misused sometime. And I think it's really important to keep that open communication so you can have those good conversations.
Yes.
You feel that?
Yeah, I do feel that for sure, thinking about how that'll impact my own kids as well when I have them. It's just I'd love to have them grow up with kid dynamics as well. Even if it's just something that I do at home with them instead of doing the full program, just having them learn and have those conversations about what these words mean and that, just because I say it a certain way in a certain context doesn't mean that you feel the same way. You don't feel like you have to say it back or that you have to feel that way if I feel that way.
Yeah, to honor like where they're at. And I mean, kid dynamics, it started from age 4 right up to 12, and continued for many people because they just took aspects of it. It's just like any subject and any subject matter to me. It's like you can learn it, but what are you taking from it? I can study something and memorize it and know it, but how am I using it in life? That's the real importance of all of this. These things that you're learning, these themes are life core dynamics. I mean, look at dynamicseries.com and go to dynamics and look at some of them. And some of those are the same things for kids too. Because just because we're an adult or senior, whatever it might be, it doesn't mean that we're any less needing of remembering things about all these different core dynamics along the way. So that's why we did, along with kid dynamics and around that, there's the pregnancy dynamics. Pregnancy is just such a big thing because whether it's you that's caring for pregnancy or whether it's another circumstance that allows you to have a kid come into your life, blessings to all of it. If it's you that's caring or even waiting to receive a child in some manner, is the thoughts that you think is really important before and waiting for this child to be actually physically born into this world. I know with Makota, when she was in my belly, I did not know, I did not find out whether she was female, male at the time. It didn't matter. What I wanted her to know is the love, and I talked to her all the time, and I would do affirmations for her. I would sing to her. I would think good thoughts. But when I didn't, when I was afraid sometimes, really she would kick me from the inside out, almost like getting my attention going, stop thinking that way. It's not good for me or for you. I remember a few times that happened and I thought, that's really funny.
Yes.
Yeah. Or you're already sharing my transformation while you were inside of me because you as a soul came through me and now you get to live your life from there. When you're pregnant, like there's so many people that are like, I'm worried. Like, what do you think you're doing to this baby that is growing inside you, or more than one? Or even, like I said, if it's not yourself that's carrying, how are you projecting that into someone else that is carrying
Yes.
around that? So how do you feel about the pregnancy part of the beforehand? It's like setting the tone for your child to come into this world.
Yes. I mean, that's something that me and my fiance have talked a lot about, and also I've talked with my mom and other people in my life. Even though almost everyone else that I know is already having a kid or is about to have a kid or is on their second kid or maybe even their third, it's like, well, first off, it's everyone's journey specifically. It's not that I
Yes.
need to rush.
Right. Never a rush. Yeah. Because it was 33 before I had you.
Wow.
Yeah.
And most people that I know are already, on their first or second kid and they're, the same or younger than me. But I think that was the biggest thing for me to realize is that there's no stress, there's no rush. You do when it's best for you. And I think, at least for me, that's making sure that I'm financially stable, that we have a good place to live that can accommodate a child, that I feel like I can take the time off to take care of the kid or kids, maybe, we'll see, and just feeling ready mentally. And I think if you're ready mentally and surrounding wise, it makes it so much easier to feel prepared for the kid. If it's just like, oop, now I'm pregnant, and sometimes that will happen to you, but it's like if you don't have those conversations with the people that you're, wanting to have the kids with, that can become a very scary situation where you are putting stress on yourself. Like, of course, at a baseline, having a kid is a little stressful because it is, you're bringing a whole new person into existence, but it doesn't need to be something that you're anxiety ridden about.
Right. So what do you feel about, this soul or whatever is growing in you to be a physical baby, and then we're telling everyone, as whatever age you're at, good self-talk, your own wellness matters, and then you're taken care of and you see a baby growing. Wouldn't you want to be including those things to the baby and including them? Not that they're a separate entity, they're a part of you,
Yes.
but also, like, instead of, oh, this and that and worrying, being informed and worrying, two different things. How do you feel about the importance of how you're thinking about the baby itself, how you're talking to the baby, what you're doing? Like, I see some parents are so fun, like they play music, the partner is like talking to the belly, rubbing the belly, doing those values and virtues ahead of time before it even gets here, you know?
Yes, and I think that's something I wanna do as well, and I think it is very important because, that calms you as well. Calms you and it makes you feel calm, so you imagine how that's helping your baby, develop and become calm as well. And so I've already talked about wanting audio and, like, have them we were talking about playing music that we like, so hopefully they'll grow up and like the same music as us, and, reading books that we've cared about. And my mom said it, just making it not like something that doesn't exist yet. It's still growing, and maybe it can't fully be conscious of everything that you're doing, but it's very subconscious. Those songs that you sing it or the things that you do will become kind of familiar to them when they, fully are out of you and develop and all that. So I think it is very important to start off with those positivities right from the get go, and knowing that that also calms you as well. So how could it not calm your baby?
Yeah, I I like that, and even the fact that it's okay, especially for your first pregnancy or any pregnancy, but especially the first time, if you're the one carrying it, that you can have stuff come up. You can have fears. You can have this or that. You can have all the emotions that you need to. But instead of separating that from the baby, you talk to your baby about it. It's just like the open and honest communication between a mother and their baby or child or children that's in there, depending how many. You can energetically even talk to your baby and, hey, I'm having a rough day here. I'm feeling a little worried. I got we just came from the doctor and they said something a little different, or I'm a little afraid right now. Because also, you have to understand your hormones are all different, your body's changing, and having you go through that process, talking to the baby before it's even born, is such a good foundation for when the baby is actually born, that you're in this together instead of, okay, I'm the mother, that's the kid. Like
Right.
it's like a whole, no, this is part of my soul family. Why wouldn't I communicate on whatever level? Because I don't know about you, but you understood voices, you understood tones when you're a baby, you understood all of that right up until even now, right? You
Right.
feel energy. So do you not think that the same thing is happening? The pregnancy stage of before the kid is born.
Yes, I definitely think so. It's very
Yeah.
important.
Yeah, and a lot of people do not think of that. Some are very consciously intentional about having a baby and doing it, like for us, we did a cleanse before. We talked about it first, made sure we're in the right headspace. We did a cleanse. Both of us did. We ensured that our wellness was really good, and then it was like, okay, it was time, and that was it. And Makota she was ready.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and I think that's so important is just it for those that are worried about it is that it'll come when it needs to happen, and sometimes that takes a long time, and sometimes it's done unconventionally, like, having to adopt or having to foster or waiting really long amounts of time that can be very frustrating, but it's like, if a soul's meant to come into the world and to meet you, even if they're already on this planet, that they'll find a way to you. So
absolutely find a way to you. And there is no right or wrong around this. And our heart goes out to those. 'Cause again, there is just no right or wrong to it, whether you're doing it through your own means or whether you're doing it through adoption or foster or taking over a role for someone. It doesn't matter. The kid at the end of the day is important, and so are you, whoever's listening to this.
yes.
So thank you for that. Is there anything else you want to say about kid dynamics in general, kids in general? Just let me know what your thoughts are.
Well, I think that thinking back to how when I grew up in kid dynamics and it just felt so very natural, didn't feel like anything was being like forced. And I think that's a very important thing for kids. It's just there's a lot of outside influence for kids nowadays, and having something that doesn't feel forced is so important. And so I'm really passionate about kid dynamics because it never felt like, oh, well, you have to believe this thing or you have to see it this way. The whole point of kid dynamics is to find a self-discovery through the themes and through the virtues and values that we teach. And I think that's so important for these kids nowadays. They're put to so many different influences, and it's so vital that they can find their own way and their own meaning with these words.
And live their life on their terms.
Yes, so important.
Yes, which a lot of them do, but they don't know they're doing it anyway. But just conscious living, conscious kids, conscious parenting, conscious coaching, conscious teaching, just being more aware of what's happening and making them feel important. So thank you for that feedback. And
Yes.
yeah, that's good. Just take a moment to reflect on today's episode about living dynamically around kid dynamics and how will you make these insights your own. What will you become from this? Can't wait to hear your story. You know how to reach us, dynamicseries.com or dynamicshow.info. So take your action, make this episode, send it to someone that may need it, and dive into past recordings to keep the momentum going. All materials are copyrighted and meant for information purposes only. And remember, your journey doesn't stop here. There's so much more waiting for you. Every day is a new chance to align with your dynamic self. So until next time, thanks for tuning in to the Dynamic Show. Makota, thank you again so much. Thank you for being the inspiration for this. I think that was part of our life themes, was to, come together to evolve and work on this together. And I'm so excited. And thank you for that.
Yes, thank you for letting me inspire you to make it.
Yes, you don't know how much, and sometimes, like I say to Makota, sometimes you'll never know what it means until you experience it yourself in whatever capacity. And I think even you being a teacher is realizing when you start caring for the well-being of kids, the importance of that. It just helps you in a motherly role, regardless of what we label it as.
Yes, 100%.
Yes. All right. So until next time, make it a dynamic day.
Make it a dynamic day.
Thanks for joining us. Bye for now.
Bye-bye.